some really great improvements. I know, it's already... We're nearing the end of the semester. I know, it's going by so fast. Yeah, I know, but look, I know that you have a lot going on. I'm talking. Academics can really just weigh you down and really discourage you, especially, nearing the end of the autumnal season. Look, I know. And finals are just around the corner. Our final will be 3.5 hours long. I decided to give you the longest time possible. Look, as an educator, especially in this day and age, I think it's important, to accommodate students and give ample amount of time to complete the assessment that I will be providing for this semester. And so I want to talk to you about test taking strategies. I have your essay, and look, sweetie, I think you did really good. I think you did good on your essay. Excuse me, you did well on your essay. I say good because there were just, there were some areas where I think some areas can be refined a bit more. Let's discuss 4.2a again. I know with it we had a pretty interesting conversation the other day. And how to really use a lot of space when looking at you want to use up a lot of space, but you don't want to be repetitive, You want to make that quality space, taking up a lot of space, quality. You want to take up a lot of space, right? Looks good. I'm thinking that some areas can be a whole lot more organized. I sent you a 577-page document with some key terms, definitions to include, and then I sent you some interesting texts that I want you to read and include in your analysis. Do some quick briefs, look through them, annotate, highlight, pull out the key principles, okay? And I don't want you to paraphrase them. I want you to quote. Use quotations, please, because I want that material verbatim. Okay, thank you. All right. Let's go through. Let's move on from 4.2a. All right, because we're aware that just don't focus on restatement second and looking for restatement third part of liability. Right? We discussed yesterday. I think we were talking about risk utility, but today in our earlier conversation, I think risk utility, feasible alternative, fine. Right? The reasonable alternative design have reduced the foreseeable risks. That's the governing test. Exactly, that's the governing test for design defects. But it's important restatement third does use negligence, as we know. BPL, great. Deviation from design test, fine. The primary test is reasonable instructions warnings test. Were the warnings inadequate? This can get really in depth, so I don't need you to, but the admissibility of specialists who will just drill the reasonableness of instruction, of warning instruction on a product. It's the level of intensity. But ultimately, bringing to question, were the warnings inadequate? Would reasonable warnings reduce foreseeable risks? It's fine. Good. I like what you said over there. Consumer regulations today. Restatement third. Remove that. That's not required. You don't need to get into all of that. You don't need to. You don't need to. It's information that's, you know, not required. I'm not interested in, you know, extra material on the risk utility test. It's not on the rubric. I would have put it on if it were needed. Alright, let's start from the top forward to a primary consumer expectation. Did the product fail to be seen as a normal person would expect? I wouldn't say normal. I would switch that to reasonable. Try to use the terminology that I've included in the PowerPoints. If the product surprises the consumer in a dangerous way, it's defective. Right? Okay. You do not need to show a safer alternative design. Oh my god, it's like I'm spinning around in circles. Oh my gosh, I'm seeing a lot of repetitiveness. Listen, sweetie, you gotta be so repetitive. Alright, let's move on from this. Yeah, just okay. I want you to just narrow this down very simply, all right? Really simple, all right? The individual bringing suit with regards to 402A strict liability must show just a few things. I typed it out. The product has to be defective, unreasonably dangerous. The product was already defective when it left the seller. That's critical for 402A. The product was already dangerous and already defective, when it left the manufacturer, okay? Or the seller, pardon me, all right? The product was defective, okay, it has to be defective. Defect was made it unreasonably dangerous, more dangerous than a reasonable person would expect. The product was already defective when it left the seller. The product did not change before reaching the user, and the defect caused the injury. So I think I would emphasize number 4, and you could write your 1-pager on number 4. I think if you need to hone in on, I think the most key factor here, they're important, all 6 are important, but 4 is really important, is that if you want to bring, right, exactly, but the product did not change before reaching the user. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Yeah, defective, unreasonably dangerous consumer expectations, no safer design required. Report to R3, design defect, risk utility, negligence, of course, means a peaceful alternative is required. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. That's looking better. That's looking better. Yeah, narrow it down a bit more. of it's more about no one else messed with the product. You know, no one else messed with the product. It got to you defective as it left the store defective. Okay. Let's move on here. Let's discuss some alternative material. Right. Yeah, let's discuss this. Is important. Right. So I think it was important in your essay that there's obviously an emphasis on forward today, but I think you should also discuss standard of care is a matter of law with the judge, reasonably prudent person, standard amount, degree of care, matter of fact, or jury. Again, you don't need to get into any of this. This is not a legal class. This is a sociology class. Okay. Okay, my field of practice is sociology. Okay. We're getting really way too into all this stuff. Okay, yes. Negligence, duty of care, breach, actual injury to plaintiff, because there's no negligence claim if the party who suffered harm due to the tortfeasor's actions is not in fact injured or harmed causation. Okay, yeah, none of this is relevant to our class. I'll be honest. Just cross it all out. I'm literally just gonna make a comment. Remove. Okay. It's not relevant to our class, sweetie. So get rid of it. I'm being, you know, a very harsh critic right now, but I want you to stay on task. Have you been hanging out with Melanie too much? I'm just telling you, like, it's very evident to me when you're focusing on your academics and when you're not. You know, I want to see that focus. I want to see that precision. That, you know, has been lacking for the past few days, and I am so worried about you. I'm so worried about you. I'm worried. All right. And by the way, private necessity, incomplete privilege. Incomplete privilege, okay? I don't think you need to get into pursuing absconded with property, use of modification of warrants to recover property by everyone in common law permitted to pursue if pursuit does not qualify as fresh. Again, you don't need to get into any of this. We're not discussing these concepts. This is very in-depth. Again, I'm not an expert in this area. I'm a sociologist, okay? All right, reasonable alternative design has to be safer, economically feasible, technologically feasible. Individuals well advised to build prototypes, though not required to do so. All right, well, if the restatement third applies, negligence, risk utility test, fine, forward to A. No negligence. All right, what is the primary test for forward to A? This is when you tell me what the primary test is. Consumer expectation test. Yeah, well, look, just try your best. Just try your best to stay awake, because I know that it's, we're so close to the end of the semester. Okay, we're so close. But you really need to hold on, okay? I remember what it was like, you know, to be a very, very, very busy student. Oh, it's overwhelming, it's stressful, right? But you just gotta keep burning yourself out of it more, you know? And then you're at the finish line and you're ready to rock and roll, and you're, it's like, oh, it's so incredible. So keep going. You've got this. That's why I'm all with you, right? Right. The classified under strict liability, subject to negligence standards. Manufacturers have a much easier time. No real strict liability for drugs, stitcher, tinge, not really held strictly liable. Informational or warning defects. Okay, get rid of all the stuff on prescription drugs. We're not discussing that. We're not even getting into, governing agencies in that area. It's just we're not gonna get into. We're not doing it. Okay. Also the section on the FDA, not relevant to this class, right? But I think it's great that you're doing this research. But delete it because it's not relevant to my class. Thank you. Please, yeah. Awesome. You did discuss a warning or information defects may be classified under the strict liability but are negligence cases. Risk utility does apply under both restatements. Failure to warn of product dangers. Failures to instruct consumers in how to use products. Fine. I think that's great. Our final exam will have a couple questions on warning. Informational, instructional defects. Look, I mean like one question, literally one. And it's not going to be in depth, but I think this is interesting. Maybe you'll want to write your final paper on this topic. You seem really interested in warning defects, which is a tough field. Very tough field. Well, look, if a product is not broken and the product itself is not badly designed, but there is something dangerous about it that, the reasonably prudent person would not know unless someone told them, and the company does not tell the buyer or, make it clear to the general public, that could be classified as a warning defect. So if a product has a hidden danger that people wouldn't know about, the company must warn. But if they tell the product's defective, let me just put this over here. Again, but long instructions in small print. I would emphasize that it's dangerous for manufacturers. If anything goes wrong, it will be argued that the potentially wronged party, nobody will understand, such fine small print, very negligibly written on a product or a bottle, for example. It's just not looking good for the manufacturer, because if something goes wrong, you bet that arguments for warning defects will. But look, I think that emphasize here, it does depend. I think it depends. It depends on what the reasonable consumer would understand. Psycholinguistics will get involved likely. Psycholinguistics has to hype their expertise about whether the warning is or it's not sufficient. That was good. Fine. I know what source you're referring to, but you need to cite it. But to the extent the court deems warning is sufficient or insufficient, or it is needed, bigger, larger users in the stream of commerce can sue, not just consumers. Fine. Users in the stream of commerce can sue. That's right. Right. Well, thanks for meeting with me. It's such a complex area. Just erase it from your brain for the sake of the holidays. Well, I hope you have a great Thanksgiving. Don't think about this paper too much. Of course, we went over it together, so you really don't have to think about it. I will be grading you very generously. I will grade you very generously, right? Well,
yes, it was so